What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Spawncast episode 64, right, Evan? 64.
Yep, 64.
64. This one's a little different because we're actually recording this ahead of time because 3 of the 4 people on screen here are actually going to be out of town this weekend. Sean is actually leaving on Thursday, I believe, and then myself and Evan are going up there on Friday, and that's the Too Many Games. It's just going to be really fun. Max, you'll have to come out next year.
I'm going to. This weekend, I'm going to be playing a bunch of video games, so that's my excuse. I'll definitely be up there next year, though.
I know Mario Tennis comes out on Friday also, so that's fun. I don't know if...
I got that pre-installed right now for the convention, so we can play it.
Oh, you already bought it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know if... I didn't know if Nintendo was sending it over, but they haven't yet, and I think embargo's up tomorrow, so there we go. I put in a request for it, so we'll see what happens there. No one's Nice America right now, though.
Mm-hmm.
Nice America hooking it up like a month in advance or something to get that stuff done.
That's what I like. Now we just gotta hope we get Octopath Traveler code soon. I want to play that so bad.
Yeah, I need me some Octopath, man. That's for sure. If I don't get Octopath, I'm gonna be kind of sad. Cool. So we had a couple of things to go over today. Specifically, I guess we had a few things in the news. Did you guys see about GameStop?
Yeah.
The selling, yeah.
It looks like they're looking for a buyout, I guess, is what's happening. Or at least they're talking to someone about a buyout, but no one knows who yet. This just came out last night, I think, is when Reuters put that out. That an independent or just a buyout firm that's probably there to represent another big company that does the middle work and stuff to make sure all the laws and everything, and they're allowed to even do it because you got to go through, when you try to buy another company that big, you got to go through like things to make sure you're not like a monopoly and all this stuff.
That has to get approved. I feel like people forget that a lot. Like a lot of times the government actually has to go in and look at all the paperwork and then stamp it. You can't just pay them.
Right. So we got to go through that and everything, but it does at least look like somebody's looking to buy them, and I don't blame them because GameStop is they're becoming a little archaic and they're probably going to go out of business at some point if they don't do something like this. But people are looking at Amazon as possibly buying them. They just bought a food chain, didn't they? What did they buy?
Whole Foods.
They
bought Whole Foods.
Yeah. They just bought Whole Foods, so I guess it's possible. I don't really know why GameStop would need it though.
No, yeah,
Amazon.
Because normally you'd expect Amazon to buy like a larger place that has a lot more stock in an area, just in case they get an order or something and can have the storefront fill it locally to get it there faster. But with GameStops, those are usually just small places. I mean, Whole Foods is a grocery store. They got all their freezers there. Everything they need to store stuff is there. So I don't know why they would do it with GameStop.
If they bought GameStop, I have a feeling it would purely be like an ergonomic thing. I feel like they'd buy it just to get the hundreds of millions of video games and the actual retail property. I don't feel like they're interested in keeping GameStop as it is. I feel like they're probably going to rebrand it as Amazon Gaming and make it like an extension of the Amazon warehouses.
Yeah, but do you think that would make it past, I guess, the government oversight? Because then at that point...
Oh, God, I don't think so.
Yeah, because then at that point, they're the ones who basically look to the developers and the people releasing the games and go, no, we're setting the price now because you have nowhere to sell.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, yeah. Well, and I feel like it would really get weird because, PlayStation cards are always on the top selling chart. So it'd be weird if literally every single PlayStation card in the world basically is sold through Amazon. That starts to feel a little bit overly controlling. Like, all right, you got to give us a bigger cut, Sony, or else we're just going to not stock it.
What I'm curious about is if they buy them and then work to turn all of them into their Amazon stores, the ones that you don't need to talk to people to go to. Because that's a lot of places that are already set up, and you pretty much just have to change a sign and then some of the stock and install like the cameras. Or maybe they would want to just buy them just to have GameStops. I don't know. I feel like they would maybe think about changing the name.
They're definitely going to choose a name. So a friend of mine, I'm in Dallas, Texas. The headquarters is in Grapevine, Texas, which is literally about 40 minutes from me. So I've known friends who are actually accountants at GameStop headquarters, and they basically said for the last like 6 years now, it's just been like tables on fire. Like everybody's been freaking out for the last 6 years because they're just geysering so much money at this point, which is why they're trying to sell more t-shirts, and they bought that cell phone company and everything like to try and roll into them. So I feel like Amazon, if they go in there, they're just going to buy it for dirt cheap and maybe even liquidize it.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's probably going to be already cheap because they've been doing worse and worse as they go along. They seem to keep talking about how the Switch is helping them, like in general and like retail. They always bring that up, but I mean, how long could that? I mean, I don't even like a Switch is going to keep you alive. You know,
Yeah,
It's-
'cause
they don't really sell
what's the
anything.
actual markup for it.
Their
Like,
markup is heavily in the new
Right.
stuff, but then it's definitely also in their Think Geek purchase where they also sell backpacks. I mean, go to a GameStop now, half of it is apparel. It's not even
Yeah.
video games anymore.
They-
It's weird.
They literally make those shelves so you have to walk like They basically make a tiny maze. So to get to the counter, you have to pass like 16 Pokeball cups.
it's not even the
Yes.
counter to get into the store. The one near
Yeah.
me, you have to walk by an entire wall of statues and
Mm.
stuff. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but that I don't know. I think it's gonna go badly. It's funny because remember we just literally 2 days ago, which seems very obvious now, saw that weird random press release from GameStop talking about why GameStop was excited for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2. Did y'all see that? It was they were being like,
why would they be
No.
excited for that?
they specifically were saying this is going to be great. Like we understand this is going to be a huge boom for the retail market. Like everybody's going to be lining up to buy games.
I mean, that's not wrong, but it's going
is, but it's
digital.
like- but they're
It's-
like, you don't see Walmart coming out and bragging about how everybody's buying their Hot Pockets. You know, it's like nobody needs to brag about
Nielsen,
that.
Nielsen actually talked about how apparently right now gamers 66% prefer physical. That's actually pretty well down from last time, which I think was
Yeah,
like
with-
over almost 80. And
was-
now they said PC gamers was 26% preferred physical. I think that's too high.
And
That's
with,
weird,
and
yeah.
with the rise of games as service, that number is going to keep going down. Like, why would you prefer a physical copy if you could just pay a Netflix fee and play like 100 games on that system?
Yeah, if they can
That's
figure out how to
the
sell
Game Pass.
if they can figure out how to sell digital stuff, with I know they kind of do because they print out the codes on your receipt if you get something digital through them, like DLC. If they can figure that out, they'd be okay, I guess. But no one wants to give them the money for that. Not even the parent companies who make more on the digital stuff because I think there it's like a flat 30%. Whereas if you go through retail packaging and everything, it's like 55% is what they get. So it's 70 versus 55. So of course, the big guys, they don't want to go physical, which is really funny because see the indie games go the opposite. They start digital and then they really want to go physical because they're smaller companies that probably just want to see their game on a store shelf, to be honest.
Yeah, I
So-
think so.
And also at that point, your game is actually physical and will technically stand the test of time better than digital. So that's probably one of the other reasons they want to do it, is because of that. So what's everyone? I know we're only technically a couple days into the week because we're recording this on a Tuesday. But what's everyone been playing? Anything good this past couple of days? I guess from last time we talked.
Fortnite.
Yeah,
We've been playing Fortnite together too at
We
times.
keep trying to catch you playing Fortnite, and it's always just you pop in for like the one solo game and then vanish. We're like, oh,
Yeah, we
that's-
try to actually. Now I think about it, Sean, you don't really play with us that much. The three of us have played it a bunch.
yeah, we've all played a bunch.
I got a new headset in today so that I can play undocked as well and have voice chat. So I'll be on more.
Okay. Well, why don't you get on after this podcast?
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
then.
let's all
See,
play-
we made it work.
It's funny watching you in lobbies, Sean, because I can tell that you're definitely the type of dude. Without even watching you play, I can tell you're the type of dude who kind of hides in a corner, aiming a shotgun at a door. Because I'll see it say like 5 people left for 10 minutes, and I'm like, is he not killing anybody?
Hey,
like it's just 5
Ask
people
Evan.
hiding.
Ask Evan how well that stealth works. You saw it, dude. You got what? You get knocked out at like
works so
30 something,
well
and I made it to
after-
the last 3 people.
Yeah, it works so well that after I picked a dude in the face with a hunting rifle from across the map, went around a corner to his teammate and said, "John, let's get him." And I died, and then I got to spectate you miles away, going, "Nah, I'm going to the circle."
I'm stealthing it up, man. I'm Metal Gear over here. I'm Snake right here. But it worked. It definitely didn't work.
It worked up
I
until
walked-
those two
yeah,
people approached from behind you because they got the other dude up, and then they just killed you.
See, if you were stealthing it up, man, we could have gone Rambo at the last minute and won with 2 kills.
I had this time where I was inside the circle and we were doing squads, and all 4 of my people, we were all still alive. We were all still kicking butt. We ended up having the high ground. We'd had this like big hill we were on top of, and we all had a bunch of rocket launchers somehow for some reason. The entire circle is there. It's really tiny at this point. We feel like we can see the entire thing. We're like, where are they hiding? Are they in that tree? And we realized there was one of those teeny tiny huts. So we shoot the hut. There was literally 2 people stacked on top of each other, aimed at the door. And we broke it open. It was like seeing cockroaches scatter, like, they spotted us.
Explosive weapons at the end are so powerful. That's the core reason why the one time I was going to win, I lost, was just because a guy happened to have a 20-story tall tower at the tiniest point in the circle and a missile launcher. Like that's all he needed. He just aimed down and fired.
Did y'all play during the really brief time they had the remote rockets?
I watched videos. I didn't play.
They were so broken because everybody, literally, there was a time when I beat the entire game without ever moving. At the very start, I happened to drop in the prison. pick up the remote rocket launcher and like 50 bullets, and I literally hid inside a jail cell and just kept firing bullets out the window and just fly around the entire map, see somebody, blow them up, shoot out another one. It just literally stayed there for the entire game. It just got like 15 kills without ever moving. They had to remove that. It was so broken.
The stealth stuff does work, but then we randomly get into matches and somehow I'll end up with like 5 or 6 kills before we die at number like 50. So the stealth stuff does help because everyone will just knock each other out. Like
everyone's they're very aggressive on the Switch. Like
it's not that
I love that.
Aggressive. It's not that it's aggressive, it's vulture-y. Like that's why I don't like playing the squad modes, just because you'll get like 2 squad kills and there's just a dude on a hill like, and they're weak enough and they'll start picking you off.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about the game is the building, I will say that. Probably because I'm not as good at it yet. Maybe if I get better, but whenever I'm so close to wiping somebody, they just build. Like they just hold build basically and it's gone. It's like, okay.
Wood and I were playing duos last night, and there was only like 3 or 4 teams left, and we're like, all right, we got this. And like we had a pop fort, we had all sorts of stuff, we had great weapons, and like some dude took us out, and I was like, how the hell did he take us out so fast? And we watched this dude for the rest of the match, and he was like a master. He was like Bob Vila, like he would just be like, and he would just build stuff, and then he would run and jump, and then he would throw something down, and he'd jump off that, and I was like, how is he doing it so fast? Like it was crazy.
Wow.
The PC people, well, and there's people on PC build so incredibly fast. I've seen people. There was a replay once somebody posted on Twitter, and it said like, "This is the day I quit Fortnite," and it showed 2 people with like 1,000 wood each building super skyscrapers. And it literally was 2 people just Taj Mahal thrown up in 5 seconds at a cardboard. And every time they'd get close to each other, they'd start building over and over and over. And it's just like, okay, like a normal person with a tiny.
What if somebody had a rocket
controller
launcher or a grenade and threw it at the bottom, and it would have happened? Wouldn't the whole thing come crashing down then?
Well, it depends on how big the base is, but that's during the 50v50s. I remember we were at the end, and it was like 5-on-5 at that point, and the guys just kept building and building and building, and there was a orange tier Gatling gun off to the side, and I definitely had thousands of pistol bullets. I was like, no, this is over right now. I just picked it up and started spraying.
Which match was that? I don't think you were there, Sean. Maybe you were. Which match was it where I had that remote mine? I couldn't figure out how to detonate it right away, but I threw it into that pop-up fort. I was trying to figure it out. Eventually, I just hit the right button, and the whole thing exploded.
That was fell down in front of us, and we shotgunned him.
Dude,
Yeah,
that was so funny.
So awesome from my point of view, because it's on the other side of that barn, and I see you guys closing in, and you have the fence, and I'm like, okay, they're in a good position. I'm going to try and flank him. And all of a sudden, I see the humongous porta-fort appear, and I'm like, oh no, they're going to have the high ground. And then I hear John be like, which one of these buds is detonate? And then the whole thing just disintegrating, and the guy's like, ah! It was just like,
but
I was hitting every button on my Xbox controller like this. I was like, where is it? And eventually, I guess I hit it.
But then you weren't on during our duos where we were stuck in a freaking shopping mall that was surrounded in people shooting at each other off the roof and down. John had mini bombs all over the place. He was like, when do I press the button? And we were at the point where it was about to shrink past
the
us.
storm.
I was like, do it now! And the whole thing just blew up, and everyone fell down.
Everyone fell through it.
What?
But you put bounce pads at the bottom, so everyone fell, and they all landed on the bounce pad. Everyone just went flying everywhere. It was awesome. And then we died spectacularly, but it was great. Somebody had a rocket launcher, so what can we do?
If we were going to go, it was going to be in chaos.
Well, one of my favorite, before we like bore everybody with Fortnite talk, one of my favorite memories ever is there was a time where I saw this guy pick up a legendary grenade launcher, and I was like, oh crap. And I went and hid in a house, and I stood on the stairwell, and I'm like crouched under the stairwell, and he just started shooting tons and tons of grenades in. It blows up the entire house until it's literally a smoking hole. I'm in the remnants of the basement with a shotgun, and he came up to the edge like, did I get him? And I popped out and shot him in the head with a shotgun. At like I was at 1 health from all the explosions, and it was like, haha, I won by luck.
Yeah, Fortnite seems to be one of those games that can just create a ton of stories from it. So yeah, that was probably one of the bigger games we played this week. I played a little bit of I think it's Lost Child is what it was from East America.
You playing that?
Yeah, I played some of that. Not really my type of game. It's a one of those first person dungeon crawlers where you technically move in like steps essentially. It has like a Pokemon aspect to it as well, where you capture things like Pokemon, but it's not like a it's I don't know, it's kind of boring to be honest. But I'll talk about it a bit later in a video. But it's kind of boring to me. But as people who like I guess the very slower older kind of Shin Megami games might actually like it. So There you
I
go.
want to say, since we've all played a bunch of East 8, like, holy crap, that game is way, now that we can finally talk about it, that game is so good. Like, holy crap, did I love that game way more than I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't play
fun.
it at all. Evan took care of that.
I was playing it for a while before the Switch because we got it. Niece was just like, have it on PC like months prior. We were like, all right, whatever. And yeah, it's super fun. I don't know how far you beat it, right? You usually beat things before you talk about it.
Yeah. So I beat it, and man, I feel like my only problem is the whole, without spoiling anything, there's like the B story, the whole Donna story. Man, that takes forever and ever and ever and ever to get anywhere. So you end up having like you have like literally 50 dream sequences. Like the plot keeps advancing, you keep having all these great boss fights, and then every single chapter ends with this long, like 5-minute dream sequence you don't care about, and then literally 20 hours in, they're finally like, oh, and now it's a playable character. I'm like, oh, well, I don't care, but thank you. That was the one downside.
So is it worth the $60 to you?
Yeah, I'm actually probably so I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's probably one of my favorite RPGs of the year. It literally blew me away that much. I'm thinking about buying the collector's edition on PS4. I kind of want it for my collection. It's literally that freaking good. It was one of those things where I went into it because the first like 3 hours, as you guys knows, is all tutorials. They're literally like, this is how you gather quests. This is what this board is for. Here's how you do fishing. And then after that 3 hours, they're kind of just like, go fuck shit up. And it's like, yay.
It might be worth
Even
buying it on the Vita, to be honest, because that's probably gonna be the rarest version, more than likely.
Well, so I've tested on the Vita version. The Vita version has a lot of the same frame rate issues the Switch version has. The weirdest thing though is that the resolution is definitely a lot lower. So I kind of like, now that I've played all three of the versions, or the three, like I've played Switch version, I've played PS4 version, and I've played the Vita version. Something about the Switch version seems more colorful, and I'm not sure what they did, but
if you see that comparison like I did in mine, they definitely upped the vibrance. I don't know why.
Contrast maybe, or
the textures are lower, but the saturation is higher.
Yeah, well, because especially the main character Adol's hair is red, and some of the DLC costumes, which make him look like a little sailor boy and stuff, are super popping on the Switch version. I kind of like that.
The main comparison I did was between the main dinosaur like antagonist.
Oh yeah.
Bulk of it, and on the PC version, he looks kind of leathery, looks scaly, but then on the Switch version, he's like a bright fire red. It's really ridiculous.
What'd you think of it, Sean? You enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love the combat in it. Yeah, the graphics aren't all that great. That was probably one of the biggest downsides. Some low res textures, shadows, some frame rate issues here and there. But yeah, like gameplay wise, it's phenomenal. Whether you got a PS4, a Vita, or Switch, definitely worth picking up on at least one of the consoles.
Okay. Yeah, that's how long was it, Max? Do you have like an estimated hour tally?
So you can beat it in about 55 hours.
Oh, wow,
I think you're supposed to beat it in about 65 though. Towards the very end, you basically, the main thing that progresses it is there's all sorts of blockades until you find a certain amount of castaways, which are basically the survivors on this island. So you need like 25 people to move this boulder, 50 people to try and move this blockade. And so as you get further, eventually you get to a point where you kind of get the final batch of castaways, and it's kind of just like, all right, you want to go finish the game now, or do you want to do this other stuff? And so at the time, I just went, I want to go finish the game.
Okay. That's it sounds like it's worth the money though. So that's good. That's good. Does it work well as a portable game? You know what I mean? Like as something that's like on this. I always find myself playing the JRPGs more as a portable thing, probably because the pick up and play nature. I don't know, but you'll have to let me know if that's decent.
Yes, I definitely think it does. So I played it a lot when I was spending time with family this weekend. I played it completely on portable mode. Then it doesn't seem to drain the battery very fast, which is good. Like I know some games do, but I think since this is less graphically powerful, it doesn't seem to just drain your battery super fast. And I think it seems like they redid the menus a little bit to be bigger. So it didn't seem like there's no touch screen thing. So when I'm trying to do quick equip, you're still pressing the buttons. I think it works well. The weirdest thing is there's a lot of stuff involving like menus, and all the menus are based on these buttons, which feels weird because there's like literally 5 different kinds of maps. Doing that on the touch, on that mode, handheld did not work as well.
This dude's still doing Skyrim.
Whoops, busted.
you playing Skyrim again on the Switch?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can see I actually my dark elf is ready to be the master assassin. I just got all the assassin sneaking gear in my bow, so I'm ready to mess stuff up.
I'll be honest, that's one of the best ports I think I've seen on the Switch so far is Skyrim.
Yeah, because it's so customized. The fact that they did the lighting system from the enhanced edition and then the basic assets, it's like that's a good combination.
Yeah, Iron Galaxy did a great job. I'd like to see them do something else on the Switch at some point. They're the ones who was calling out Capcom to let them do Monster Hunter World. So I would be interested to see that. But they did a good job of Skyrim. Did you guys see the hacking stuff for Nintendo where they can now detect people pretty much perfectly according to Michael Sayers, who is a data miner who also looks into like homebrew and goes through the coding and stuff. His opinion is that it's probably like as close to being perfect as possible to detect like pirated game, because piracy is now possible on the Switch for hackers. They can back up and play games now, and this is pretty recent. Team Executor released they have like a little plug-in and then the little piece on the side that makes it all work. It has its own like firmware. It looks like that's the thing now, and Nintendo though is actually banning people pretty easily, which I think is probably good for the best, obviously, because if you're pirating stuff, you shouldn't be online anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean that's kind of that dates back to the original Xbox. You pirate stuff and you can't use Xbox Live.
Yep. And the PS3 was heavily like that with Grand Theft Auto. I remember that people would go online and they wanted like millions of coin or whatever the current. I think it's still just dollars, but because I know you buy shark cards to get more, obviously. But even going back to them, people wanted flying cars and tanks and all this stuff, and they just get banned after like 10 minutes.
Able to randomly spawn a whale in the middle of the street.
Yeah, but this isn't even that. It's just like if you've pirated a game, apparently it works through matching up specific like basically stamped codes and comparing and cross-checking and stuff, and apparently it bans you within a minute or two after checking everything. Jeez. So if you're gonna do it, stay offline, I guess.
Did you see the people so I'm super into Splatoon. I love the new Octo expansion DLC. Blew my mind. It's so fun. But there are people right now who are hacking, and they're going into Splatoon matches, and then when it starts doing like the background calculations for what map you're going to play on, they have a way where they can commandeer that and then manually select what map you're going to be on, and they're making it where you're playing on maps that aren't out yet.
I saw that. I posted that on Twitter. I was like, this is insane. Yeah. At that point, it's getting a little personal there. I think they're pulling maps that aren't even out yet.
Yeah, because hacking in Splatoon was around before the expansion because everyone was starting to become the actual squids.
Yeah,
but like they didn't say anything about it. They did their whole event, and I don't think anyone from that company specifically said like, "Well, we're looking into it. We're looking into ways to fix it."
Is that part of that map? Is part of the paid DLC?
No. It's so all the maps are always going to be free. The Octo expansion is a couple cosmetic things and a humongous. It's 80 new puzzles. It's just awesome puzzle levels.
Okay. Well, so it's more single player essentially that people.
Yeah, it's basically, in my opinion, you're paying for the real single player because the original single player was kind of sparse. It's amazing though.
Oh wow, cool. All right, very good. So this is just something they rotate in, or they were going to release at some point, and people just found it and activated it through hacking, essentially.
Yeah, so it was probably something that was probably going to just be dropped in the next couple of days anyway. So it's probably already patched into the game. They were just going to set it live, and people are somehow already able to do it. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird and messed up.
That's kind of a shame. Yeah, that would have been a cool little surprise to be like, new map, go.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Maybe they'll just release it the next couple days anyway. I don't know. They have another Splatfest coming up, I think, though. So maybe it was for that.
I think it's going on right now. It's juice, pulp, or no pulp.
No pulp.
Yeah, no pulp. Yeah, no
okay
pulp for life.
Some of these Splatfests, man, they're getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Evan, we have some questions. I have some on Twitter also, I think. So, why don't you hit us with some questions there, sir?
All right, yeah, because we only really had 3 so far with the new system I'm doing for the Discord questions, at least.
Yeah, we had it because we were. It's like half a week, that we're doing this. So.
Yeah. So, what the first one comes from Nintendo Millennial. What do you think the chances that Smash Ultimate will have 100 characters at the end of its life? Currently, there's 70, including Echoes. And talks seem that this will be like a service game moving forward. I mean, as a service game, it's feasible that it can get there, but I mean, unless we know exactly what they're planning in terms of pacing for character releases, there's really no way to know if they're going to hit 100 or what's going to happen.
That's a lot. That's a lot of characters to
That's
put in there.
that's a lot.
I fully believe that. Yeah, I actually fully think that. My theory is that they're probably going to reveal another like 8 to 10 characters before launch. So I think we're probably going to have about 80 at launch. I get a feeling that they really just want to try and like. I get a feeling that they want to try and make this like Mario Kart 8, where it just keeps selling forever because it has 64 freaking tracks and a battle mode and great online. I think they're just basically like, we're just going to make a Smash game that sells the next 10 years and we just clean our hands.
I know the game now, I think, with Ridley is at 65 like regular characters, I guess kind of echo characters. I think the rumor right now is that there is another 5 characters, I think, to be revealed, maybe 6. Currently, before release, that would put us at 70 or 71. And the rumor right now that one leak that actually turned out to be true, that was a month old now, where they basically called every single thing that happened to Direct to the T, including Ridley, says Simon Belmont is next.
Dude.
Yeah, so they actually have some backing there. I mean, honestly, people don't like it when I say this. I hope Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the last Super Smash Bros. Game, and they just port it to every new system and just keep adding to it. I mean, I don't really know how much people need to reinvent the wheel with this anymore.
Well, yeah, it's starting to become the approach for fighting games. I mean, that's the Capcom's hope for the current Street Fighter, is to be able to do that going forward. So at the end of the day, new characters, new levels even, and maybe even some new modes, new mini games and stuff like that might become DLC, but might also be playable by everyone, but you can't like select it. That seems to be the case. Like Dragon Ball Fighters, I don't own Bardock, so I don't have access to them, but I can play against people who have them, so that's perfectly fine.
I'll be curious to see if I don't know how all the logistics work with it, but I think one of the reasons they maybe don't want to create another game is because licensing, and you'll have to cut characters then. So I'd be curious if they just keep it around and they keep it as a port. I don't know what the logistics are for licensing when you port something like that to another system or something, because it's still technically the same game.
Well, we know for a fact you end up having to pay it again. That's the rule, because we know they had to remove all those songs from Grand Theft Auto 5 going from PS3 to PS4, remember?
Well, it depends, I'd imagine, on the contract itself. Like if the contract states specifically the Switch is the system, then and that's most likely what it is. I don't think any company would go, infinitely, you can do whatever you want.
Well, I mean, Konami cashed in Snake for that easy payday. I honestly, the reason I believe Simon Belmont so much is because Konami doesn't want to do anything original anymore, and that's so easy to get money from. It's like they probably offer him like 6 characters or something. Take them all. Just send the check here.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that David Hayter is the one doing the voice.
Yeah, he's back for that. That's cool. I thought him and Konami had a falling out. Although, what I think is happening is Nintendo Sakurai has ridiculous attention to detail, and that's who did the Wii version. And it's not like I don't see David Hayter talking to Konami. I see Nintendo talking to Konami and then talking to David Hayter and saying, we want to bring you back for this. And they're all new lines.
Didn't that David Hayter interview actually say that it was basically Kojima who replaced him?
Yeah, it was Kojima that decided it, but I thought it was partially because it wasn't technically Boss, it was someone else.
Yeah, but the same voice, the Japanese voice actor stayed. That's why
it should though, because Snake is from Big Boss or Boss, so he should be basically the same voice essentially, I think.
Yeah, well, and that's he was mad at the time. There's an interview you can look up where basically for Metal Gear Solid 4, he randomly made him try out again, and he was pissed about that, being like, I'm the voice of Snake, and he was like, okay, you can have the job again. And then for Metal Gear Solid 5, all of a sudden he's like, okay, now you don't get the job. It's like, okay, cool, then bye. Sure.
I mean, they could have got away with it, but I mean, Snake obviously and Big Boss they're clones. He's a clone of him, so you figure he has the same voice mostly. Could be a little different, I guess. That's interesting. I think Smash would work way better as a service-based game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially where it's starting from, it'll be way better.
I mean, how do you follow up to something called Ultimate? Like, what's next? That's my other question. What's next?
Put a little 2 above, so Ultimate squared.
Also, I think at the very least, I think this is Sakurai's last Smash Bros. Game. Mm-hmm. I think that's why he brought everybody back.
People thought the last one on the Wii U was going to be his last one.
Why? That can't be the last one. That was on a dying, terrible system.
It was on the 3DS as well, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it was, but even then, he couldn't put Ice Climbers because of the 3DS.
True.
So I feel like this is like, okay, it's the portable, it's the whole thing. I can put everything I want on there, and it's not going to sell to 6 million people. On the Switch, it's going to sell to it's going to be 15, 20 million before it's all done, if it ever finishes. with where people are projecting the Switch to go and the
At some
attach rate.
point, they're just going to package it in with the new ones coming out. Like everyone's going to need it.
And especially because it could come to a point where Sakurai ends up balancing it the way he wants, and it just keeps selling. And from some of the statements, you saw those quotes from Reggie Fils-Aimé saying that he actually likes loot boxes, right?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. He seems to. It was interesting the way he said it. He said he doesn't see issues with loot boxes if they're done right, but he didn't. I don't think he didn't really say the loot boxes the way they're being done right is correct now. But he doesn't. He only likes it if you get the stuff outside of loot boxes, right?
No, his exact quote was that basically what he wants is if you spend money and you get a box and you always get something out of that box that's cool, he's okay with it. He says he doesn't believe in systems where like he was very vague about it, but I think he probably has an
he followed it up. This was on the news. I actually had it in my Newswave video. He followed it up saying as long as you can get everything in the game without buying a loot box as well, is what he said.
Yeah.
So he did at least clarify that, but you're right. He does technically like the idea, it seems. And if you think about it, they have loot boxes that you can't buy in Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wouldn't be shocked, and I'd say I probably wouldn't even have a problem if they ended up coming out with tons and tons and tons of crazy like costumes in for all 100 characters in Smash Bros. And that's Loot Crate related later on of something like, okay, all 100 characters are in the game or they're DLC. And then once they're out there, if you want, by just playing matches, you get these crates, or if you want, you can buy a costume.
Am I wrong in thinking, was it Melee? One of them, I thought you put currency into a machine and then it would kick out a trophy to you. Am I thinking right? I haven't been in a Smash in a long time.
That was the last one.
Melee, I thought was the last one I played like that.
Yeah, I thought it was the last one that came out because if you had your Mii in the game, like you could get abilities from those. I thought that was the case.
Because I thought you would get trophies by getting them out of like almost like a gumball machine that you put money in and it'll kick it out. I might be thinking about a different game though. I don't want to say that if that's not true. I can look it up, but I thought that was the case.
There was something like that.
Yeah,
was that the Wii one though?
It might the Wii one and the Melees I played more than the Wii version, and I barely played the Wii U version. That gamepad didn't make me want to turn the Wii on much.
The Wii version. I know the Wii version. Couldn't the Wii version you could unlock specific songs and stuff, and it'd spit out little CDs for the different soundtracks? That seems to ring a bell.
Oh, yep. Here we go. Okay, so it says here they have a lottery system in. I believe that's Melee. Is that Melee? Yeah. So Melee has, I believe, a lottery system. Yes. Yeah. Okay. There's a lottery system of some kind in Melee. That's what I was thinking of. I think. To get trophies, just trophies. But of course, no outside money or anything. It was all in game. But you can kind of see where if they really wanted to do it, they could do it. You know, like they could make it because you can earn all that stuff otherwise. But I guess if you want to speed up process, you can. Did you see that they showed that you only get like 8 characters to start with or something?
Oh yeah.
And they're constantly unlocking.
Yeah, and I know they talked about this being tournament friendly. I'm really hoping there's like a code or something for people who want to start tournaments, because I remember when Street Fighter 4 did that, and we had to have Boog at our store come. Oh no,
yeah,
he had to come in and play the game for hours to unlock all the characters to be ready for the tournament.
You know what would be good is if they do something where when you put the code in, it saves your progress, however many characters you have. They give you all the characters, and then when you turn your system off, it takes them all back away.
It's I just gotta hope they don't do like those games that are like, we have all these cool characters, and if you pre-order it, they're unlocked right at the start.
Oh yeah, no. I liked, you know what? I missed being able to unlock characters. If you remember, what was it? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back in the day, like on the Dreamcast, you would unlock characters constantly. You'd have to leave the store, go back in, and hope your character was there, and you beat the game over and over again, and then you just keep buying characters.
Yeah,
and
awesome. There's elements to it in fighting games especially that are important, because it's not just important to learn the character you like, it's to learn the other characters as well, so you know how you can fight them. And that kind of throws a lot of people off when they get into fighting games, is they'll pick like, oh, this guy looks the best, and then they'll get their ass handed to them by someone who's better at range. They won't understand why, they'll quit, they'll talk bad about the game. Like they want to avoid that. So forcing people to go like, oh, now I know these characters and now I can play these characters. It's a good path, but it's also a little off-putting.
It sounds like there's still a lot they're going to show. The theory now is obviously more characters, 5 to 6 more characters. And then the other theory is a single player, because it's ultimate, right? You need everything.
Yeah. I would think there's a single player.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll see.
Very much hoping for single player, but I actually have no expectation of it. I'm in a place where I think that would be awesome. I am not gonna really. I'm not expecting it. I'm hoping for it though.
Okay. What else do we have, Evan? What's another good question from the old Discord?
We have another one that it's worded in a specific way, but maybe we can resituate.
Wait, Evan,
from...
how do you ask questions in the Discord? You can let people know. How do you do that?
I have a channel in the Discord, Spawncast questions, and
Okay.
people post in there. I'm with the new system. We're going to be getting these questions before the Spawncast, so we can organize them into the topics a little bit, if possible.
Okay, and then how do you get in the Discord?
If you join our Patreon.
There you go. See, I was working it there for you, man. I was working it up for you.
Yeah,
pulling the rope.
Check it out. We try to do as much as we can with it. We do the calls now, usually once a month at this point. After too many games, it's the final episode of this season of Behind the Wave, which the $5 Patreons I think get, or the $10 ones.
See? There you go.
So there's a lot of stuff going on. But
cool.
Tom Terry kind of brings up a little, I guess, an anecdote. With Shining Resonance, Refrain, and Octopath Traveler released only 3 days apart, how can I keep my job and care for my family? Sleep deprivation. What's your secret? But basically, I mean, we've seen this with a lot of games, not just 2 RPGs releasing shortly after another, but we've been talking heavily about tons of games coming out all at the same time. I mean, even on the same day, it's getting a little ridiculous. I mean, what are we thinking moving forward in terms of purchasing strategies?
It's hard when RPGs come out like that. The good news is, and this is something I like a lot right now, is even the RPGs are coming out with demos. So you can test everything. This Octopath has been one of the best when it comes to it. They give you the first 3 hours of the game, and then your stuff carries over, which is insane, by the way. Even Shining that actually gave demos on everything, so you can go download the demo on any of the systems you want right now.
I was actually downloading the demo when you called me.
Yeah, it's like half an hour long, and there's even a minor little story twist at the end to set everything up. But it was I like the combat. Combat was very fast. It is an action RPG technically, like it's Tales basically, just with a 3D plane kind of. I'm used to the old Tales games, so okay, maybe it's 3D now, but back when I played it with Symphonia and everything, it was very 2D. This kind of buries you off from the world when you start the battle. You can see the people in the overworld too. And when you do that, you have your special abilities, your ultimate abilities, and you just hit them with what was I playing on the Switch? I guess that's Y, I think, or X. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I could see the game being very anime inspired to the point where the plot probably won't end up making any sense. But yeah, you'll see when you play the demo. I have a feeling the plot's gonna be a little out there. But yeah, you got to basically pick, because you're not gonna those RPGs. Max just told us it takes over 50 hours to beat Ease, so I guess take your pick.
And you really have to put Ease into that mix too, because that releases at the end of this month. So
the 26th. Yeah.
Yep. So
crazy.
Take your picks. Although I will say the Switch makes it at least slightly easier, because like Max is saying, it's a portable system, so you don't have to technically play in front of your TV the whole time, which I guess helps with grinding, if anything. I mean, that's what made Pokemon so easy back in the day, is you could grind on the Game Boy, you know?
Yeah.
So serious answer to his question. A big thing is somebody who beats tons and tons and tons of RPGs is just force yourself to play it for like 2 hours every night, and you will get through it very quickly. I feel like a lot of people, they get to like a boss fight and they get stuck and they set it down for a minute and they forget. So just like grind, make it a point to level up too much, and every RPG can be beaten in a week.
And try the demos, because honestly, you might find you don't like either of those games, or maybe you like both of them. But I would try the demos because they're free. And Octopath, your save data travels over, so you might as well. It's basically a free 3-hour game essentially.
Did you see the 2 weird pieces of news that came out about Octopath this week? Which is that number one, they said it's going to be like 85 hours long according to playtests.
Oh my gosh!
And the other thing is they said they're never going to make DLC.
I saw that.
Quote, the game is finished.
The game's good. It's a complete. We're selling you a complete game, guys. Come on. People are a little trained to ask for DLC a lot. I guess if you like a game a lot and you want to give them more money for more experience, that's cool. But what I would do is, this is actually kind of similar to the Bravely Default series. So just follow that studio, because it sounds like they have an entire division now for the Switch. So you're probably going to see these type of games come out. They take a while to make, but you'll probably see this continue. So just, if you like their game rather than DLC, just follow them for their next game, because you might like it as well, since this plays very similar to Bravely Default technically. So but yeah, it's good. You're right, Max. You got to put the time in. Eventually you'll become OP for the game anyway, and you'll blast through stuff if you grind enough. I like Octopath though. Octopath has been very fun, and I'm ready for it next month. So that's gonna be a good time. 85 hours though, man, I know that's an experience. Jeez.
That's why I said,
there's 8 characters though. I guess if there's like 11 hours per character, less than that even, then, you know. Okay.
Or if it's something like Sonic Adventure 2, where it's like 10 hours for each of the characters, and there's like a final chapter where everybody comes together.
I mean, the characters, I assume, I was going to say, I assume the characters come together at some point, and you just have like a full party to pick from. So I guess each character should get at least 5 or 6 hours of backstory running around. And then everyone meets up, and you have like the back half of the game. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Like you said, you had that experience with, which game was that, Evan? Was that the first Breath?
Wild Arms.
Wild Arms, yeah.
Yeah, because each character has like a half hour to an hour long prologue, and then you join up at one village. It's really cool.
Well, you thought you beat the game, and then it was like, nope, you're still going.
Yep.
So that's good.
Well, that
that's
came
really
later because you beat a final boss, and everyone's like, let's go our separate ways, and then it continues. It's just crazy.
That's good. Yeah, so are those our questions, Evan? We got one more?
We got one more.
Okay.
With Nintendo putting all their eggs into the Smash Ultimate and Pokemon basket, are you concerned they won't hit their 20 million sales number this year? Do you feel they should release more heavy hitters in 2018? Are they smart to save and populate 2019?
Well, I'll tell you, their 2018 games, I don't think are done yet. You're going to see at least 2 more announcements. One might surprise you. You're going to see 2 more announcements.
I think the problem here at this point is thinking that E3 was their like show pony all announcement.
I mean, it is for some, but it's not for others because people treat it differently. So
not a lot of companies seem to care about it as much this year. So I mean, it's just another thing at this point.
I will say keep an eye on Panic Button next month.
Yep.
I'll say that.
We'll see that if this is it, if this is like I'm basing this on the information we currently have, which I know some YouTubers get mad about, like, no, don't make assumptions, but I'm just basing it on the information we currently have. I feel like it's too little to hit their 20 million number. They definitely need more big announcements, like you're hinting at, John. Is they definitely need something else out there, because as cool as Smash is and as cool as Pokemon is, I feel like none of these are as amazing as almost everybody I know, literally everybody I know, went out and bought a Switch when Mario Odyssey came out. Way more than even I would have thought, actually, because I thought that Mario Odyssey was a great game, but I thought Zelda was slightly better. So it was weird when that came out, and all of a sudden everybody was like, now I got to get a Switch. So I just don't see anything this year that nobody is saying that, you know?
I think people are more so disappointed about Pokemon not being like the next hardcore one or something, but honestly, this one actually looks like something I could do because I know the Pokemon in it. Whereas when we get into next year and I start seeing chandelier Pokemon and Pokemon from armchairs and stuff, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Why are we fighting Pee-wee's Playhouse?
I would say I wouldn't underestimate the pull of Pokemon though. That's going to be interesting to see those sales. Even though it's not the, I guess, what quote unquote hardcore one. They're banking on hopeful
like crazy.
They're hoping to pull in some of that Pokemon Go crowd that still exists.
I can't fully bet on that yet. There are RGT. For some reason, I know I'm going to buy it and I know I'm going to play it, but I'm very curious to see the numbers, because it might sell, but for some reason it's hard to fully swallow that yet. I still feel like the hardcore Pokemon fan base doesn't seem sold on it, but casuals are. So I'm kind of curious where that's going to pan out.
You're going to see roughly, I'm going to say by February, you're going to see roughly about 12 million sales out of Pokemon. You'll see that. That shouldn't be too hard for them to do, because a lot of people will buy both.
That's true.
So they'll push that right there. Even if it's sold, 8 million just by itself, and then get another 4 million of people double dipping, which they will, because they're going to lock Pokemon behind, they're going to do their thing. I realistically see anywhere from 10 to 12 million by the end of February. How many people buy a Switch with that? That's hard to say, but you're going to see, because there's 800 million downloads on Pokemon Go. So they're looking to pull like 1% of of and that's
what if they bundle? What if they do a Switch bundle though with it?
Well, if they do, they'll
I might buy another freaking Switch.
If they do, they'll charge you $360 for it,
which is fine. But if they do something like the skins and Joy-Con stuff and whatever,
that's what they do with Mario Odyssey. They still charge $360 for a Mario Odyssey bundle. I think they gave you a case. I think that's what's the big free thing that came with it.
Yeah, well, it was the red Joy-Cons. It was the only way to get that special red Joy-Con.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see. I will say that they have an investors event coming up actually at the end of this month, the 26th of June. I don't think. Oh, you know what that is? I think that's like halfway through the year or something, because this doesn't line up with their quarterly stuff. So I don't really know what's going on there. I'll have to ask around to figure out what that is, but I saw it on their schedule. So people are going to ask questions. How many Switches have moved? That they'll probably have to answer that. Which should be over 20 million by now.
Oh yeah.
but we'll see. The first half of this month, obviously, they had to really push it last year. Let's be real here. The Wii U, I mean, it was not good. So they had to over deliver in the first year. And unfortunately, what that also does is sets a very high expectation for a Mario, a Zelda. You could say Xenoblade for people who really like it. I know it's not a hot seller, but you can say that. Mario Kart.
Splatoon 2 dominated Japan, and I feel like Americans forget that a lot, but damn, that thing moved consoles.
Yep. So that's the problem. Now we're all thinking some of those games, let's be real, Zelda, we saw that for 4 years. Mario was interesting because we actually hadn't heard about it up until they announced that thing. But I believe they said it had been in development for years and years. So you're not going to see a year like that maybe until the end again. So that's the thing. But Smash and Pokemon in 1 year isn't bad. Pokemon, I think, is going to move to a yearly series, by the way, now. And that's the point of Let's Go. Is 1 year is Let's Go, 1 year it's the main line or the hardcore one. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to really bank on, it's my theory right now, because they can go through all the generations doing Let's Go pretty easily. So that's
currently the Go version's way out in the season, so they've got time.
Yeah, that's my theory on that though. Is they're going to do that yearly, but it's going to come down to the big one. Smash is going to sell. It's going to come down to Pokemon. That's what if it literally. I think their 20 million for the fiscal year is going to bank on Pokemon catching on. So
I agree.
That's going to be the interesting thing. Unless they have something crazy, like really crazy, they haven't. Like Bayonetta 3 comes out in just November, or October or something, which they shouldn't, because that would actually probably die there. It would do better, I think, next year. I mean, look at September, October, and probably November. They're filling up. September's very full right now.
Yeah.
In games,
yeah.
So.
God, yeah.
And Yoshi, they can't put Yoshi in there. He would stand no chance. So, and Fire Emblem they even pushed, and I think that's because of the scheduling. So, that I think is going to be an April release, if I had to guess. Yeah. Hopefully Yoshi's like a March release. I don't know. And we still have to see a Star Fox game.
We got the fake one. We got the fake one.
I think next year they're going to dress up E3 as like a Metroid Prime setting, by the way. That'd be cool.
That's my hope, yeah.
Man, I would love that. That'd be awesome. But if they have Star Fox, Metroid, and then a mainline or a hardcore RPG Pokemon title next year, I think that would also help their next year as well. So yeah, I think they're setting themselves up over the next couple of years to have something big every single year from the first party.
And even so, right now, I think the 2018 is kind of a disappointment just because we haven't had any craziness. But let's face it, the video game console is kind of a 5-year game. You're kind of setting yourself up. So if 2018's meh and 2019 is tear your hair out amazing,
people
in the long run, they're still, people are not going to remember the off year. They're going to be like, remember that time when Metroid was the entire E3 and everybody was just crying and it was so beautiful?
Yeah, that's the thing. People will, the internet forgets very quickly about everything that happens. So, it's going to be interesting. I will say that. They do have, I believe they at least have one more direct. I think they technically have 2 more directs set up for this year at least. So
I think so.
I think one, if I had to guess, I think one is going to be in November. I think. Mostly because they'll want to push Smash along like right before it happens. So maybe it would be first week of December and just be like, here's Smash again. Hopefully not 25 minutes of it. Here's Smash. Honestly, that game, this is the thing that is crazy to me about that direct that they did at E3. That could have been its own direct right there, right? Like before the game even came out. Like you show Ridley, you show everyone's back, and then you do all this technical stuff in a direct that people want to tune in to see. That would have been cool.
Or they should have done it at just the treehouse.
Yeah, treehouse.
Remember that's what they did with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Is they didn't talk about it during the E3 direct, but then right after they're like, okay, cool. These are actually the heads of the Pokemon company and a translator to do 2 hours of the opening of the game. And it was like, oh, like that makes sense. That way I can miss it if I don't want to,
Yeah, Smash is going to be interesting. I think this will end up being the best selling Smash I think they've ever done. And it should. It's the biggest one they've ever done. That's gonna be a full $60 game too. My gosh, that's gonna be packed. 70 characters more than likely when it comes out, and we don't even know about single player. That is going to be stuffed with content.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's gonna be one of the most worthwhile $60 purchases in a long time. And if you're a fan of Smash, you're probably just praying they have a special edition or something. Maybe Sakurai signs like 100 of them or something.
$500 comes.
How much do you think Smash would be? How much do you think he could get for that if he signed Smash and sold it in like the fan
A lot.
site?
I mean, he could spit in the CD case and sell it for $1,000.
I have his DNA now. Yes.
Yeah. He goes, I wish you all of the luck. You're like, well, going to eBay.
Yeah, especially if this ended up being his last game and he signed it and sold them for charity or something. Whew. Man, he'd be funding some research with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the questions there, Evan?
Yep, that's everything from the Discord.
All right, then. Let's see what people had to say on Twitter. I'm sure this will be good. Let's...
Ironically, as opening Twitter.
Oh, yeah. How likely do you guys think... This is from Ricky Flores. Thanks, Ricky Flores. How likely do you guys think a Switch port of Nier Automata is after the interview at E3? They had an interview. They said that they, if you bug the guy who's in charge of the whole place, that they're trying to get it done. I guess they'd like to do it. And people are asking how likely it is now that it's obviously going to the Xbox as well, and it's not really an exclusive thing anymore.
I think it's possible. Yeah, I mean, so what's interesting is that project clearly was like a tiny little passion side game over at Square Enix, and it just keeps selling and selling and selling. So I think now they're like, oh, like we actually should really like triple down on this. So I think
it sold over 3 million copies. And apparently, according to Platinum, it actually saved them, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and Square Enix, they released an official thank you like 4 months after it came out. It sold 500,000 or 1 million copies, and they actually thanked people. They're like, when we made this, we knew it was a great game, but we didn't know if people would understand it, to be honest. And the fan base completely exploded. Like the amount of 2B cosplay I see is insane. So at this point, I think if Nintendo will allow it, I think they're definitely willing to put the money into it.
I think it comes down to time, really, with that. You have to time that well. If you wait too long, it's not going to matter. So, I don't know. It's possible. Anything is possible, but I will say not likely.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to see it just because I think they would actually get a decent response from the Switch crowd. Because, and of course, it's a Japanese-based game that would still probably do some more numbers in Japan. Because obviously the Japanese market likes it. And honestly, the PS4 will probably be overrun by the Switch this holiday in Japan. The Switch is going to pass the PS4 probably in it's going to take them about a year and 3 quarters is what it's going to take. And they'll pass the PS4. At that point, I assume every Japanese developer is going to just start putting everything on the Switch, at least in Japan. Not necessarily going to come here, as I'm still waiting for my Secret of Mana collection. But it's going to go over there. So that would be something I'm sure they're at least looking at, but they got to figure out, okay, can we make this run the way we want it to? Also speaking of running, were you guys surprised at how well Dragon Ball FighterZ was running?
I am actually
on the Switch now. I mean, we were talking about this, Evan, a while ago, because we were looking at the PC requirements and everything, and we even saw them dumb it down to 540p, just playing around with it on the computer, where it looked like a Game Boy Advance game, but it runs and looks pretty good on the Switch, honestly. And they're shooting for same resolution as PS4 and Xbox One.
A lot of people forget they purposely made it look like a standard 2D hand-drawn fighter, but it's not. Those are actually 3D models that are working on a 2D plane.
It's on Unreal Engine, yeah.
Yeah, so they said it was actually very hard to develop that, and it took a long time to get that optimized to be as smooth as it is. So the fact that they managed to just so quickly cannibalize that system and rework it for the Switch, to me, is really damn impressive.
I have a feeling their Unreal Engine 4 probably helped them a bit with that, from what they said in interviews.
It's all that pre-work optimization. That game could probably, at this current point, just run on a toaster.
Can we get it on the
really
Vita?
Well optimized.
Hashtag Dragon Ball FighterZ on the Vita.
DS port, bring it back.
Oh man.
Yeah, it needs to run on my Alexa. Just like
let's
Skyrim.
See. Do you guys see WWE 2K19 as well? Sean, I know you did.
Yeah, I saw the style.
I don't think it's coming to the Switch. They better not if they're going to put it out like 2K18, because mine still doesn't work.
No one's does. It's such a weird situation considering how good NBA 2K18 ran.
It looks the same. It's just half the frame rate, right? But it looks the same resolution, and everything. I think, right?
If you watch because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just going to be the PS3 version. But if you look at it, it's way closer to the PS4 version than the PS3 version. But it's like with this game, they just screwed the pooch, and people are like, oh, well, there's a lot more with animations and stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, every team has their intro animation with, lighting and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like, considering the SmackDown versus Raw series was on like the DS and the Wii and the PSP, it just seems like, they.
I put out a tweet making fun of them. I put out a tweet making fun of them, and some people were like, don't make fun of 2K, man, it's not their fault. Yeah, I know. I was like, I think their logo's on the front, right? And they were like, nah, it's blind squirrels. I was like, yeah, but Take-Two and 2K probably should have tried to fix it at least, right?
They signed that paycheck. I mean, not to talk about who, but I was talking to a big game developer recently on the phone, and he was specifically talking about the fact that like somebody plays that game start to finish before it's released, and somebody actually can sign the paper that says delay it or release it. Somebody definitely played that Switch version, as broke as it was, and went, yeah, put it on store shelves. I don't give a hell.
Yeah, there's quality assurance and everything. Yeah. Maybe I don't know, maybe they didn't care. I don't know. Maybe Blind Squirrel really did some, but at that point, you figure Take-Two and 2K review the work before it goes out.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's me though. But I guess some people were like, it's cool. I'm like, the $60 doesn't work. I bought that thing as soon as it came out, and I've regretted it every day of my life.
Same.
Bernard Warner asks about Bayonetta 3, and strangely, a game that was absent from what I could tell at E3, Travis Strikes Again, because that's supposed to be coming out this year.
Yeah.
But they asked about Bayonetta 3 and Travis Strikes Again. They were asking, I guess, if Bayonetta 3 or Travis Strikes Again are coming this year or next year. As far as we know, Travis Strikes Again is this year. Right? So, as far as we know, it looked pretty complete when they were showing it last. But they were asking about Bayonetta 3 as well, because technically they could still announce Bayonetta 3 and put it out this year. But Travis Strikes Again, as far as we know, Bernard, is this year, and I think it still will be. They even say it's not a big AAA release; it's more akin to an indie release, essentially.
It's a series of mini games, yeah.
But Bayonetta 3, when do you guys think that's coming out?
Have we seen any gameplay yet, or was it just that first one little?
We haven't
trailer?
seen any gameplay.
No.
Then 2019 definitely, because Nintendo's in a weird space now where they definitely only show you gameplay like 6 months before the game comes out. That definitely seems to be their new rule, is they're kind of following in the Bethesda footsteps. Is we'll tease you and tell you a project exists, but when you see like an aiming reticle in the game, it's because we're about to put it on store shelves.
Okay, yeah. I think that's next. I think Bayonetta 3 is next year. I think it might be summer. It might even be summer, to be honest. It's I don't think it's be anytime soon. So they'll show it to us though when they're ready to show it. And the fact they didn't show it at E3 tells me it's probably 2019. NGT linked me to an article that talks about Reggie specifically calling out new 3DS games that are still to come. Basically saying new 3DS games are going to get announced, probably in a direct that they do, or they'll just put it out there with a press release like they do sometimes, where they'll just send it. Like I get a lot of press releases in my box and I've seen them do that before. I'm trying to remember which exact one it was, but I have seen. Oh no, that was next. That was Yokai Watch 4. That was another company, but. That was Yokai Watch, 3 localization or whatever it was. But what do you guys think about that? New 3DS game announcements. Oh man.
I'm not surprised, honestly, at this point. As long as they're not big scale projects, whatever, I guess. But if they're, bigger scale projects, then yeah, it seems like a waste of time.
It's probably easy money, it's like, we'll put this essentially on our level, a AA or single A game, like they redid the Luigi's Mansion. I would have liked to have seen it on the Switch, but they used the engine from Dark Moon, I believe, so it probably wasn't super difficult compared to what it was like, probably, building Dark Moon, the Luigi's Mansion on 3DS.
Right.
But I would have liked to have seen that on the Switch. That would be so cool to see that all done on the Switch again. Oh man, that'd have been killer.
What pisses me off about a lot of these projects is that a lot of times, if they just got it running on the Switch, people would buy it. Like, people don't need that to be super high resolution. People aren't going to be complaining if it's not a trillion frames a second. Like, people just want Luigi's Mansion on the Switch. It could literally be the GameCube version. It could still be this tiny weird resolution box, and people would still be going, "Look, it's the way."
Well, look at Monster Hunter from Capcom, the one they did on the Switch. Yeah. It was the 3DS version, just 60 frames per second and everything, and people loved it. People imported it like crazy, which is weird because it I think it was only in Japanese, but it's coming over, and it's probably gonna be the same thing, just localized in English and everything. And I have a feeling people are gonna buy that up like crazy. Mostly because we've never actually had that version here, even the 3DS one, and they're just bringing it over as the Switch version. So it's going to do well here, at least. It'd probably do better here, honestly, than Japan, because they already had that version on the 3DS. They just upgraded, I guess, to the Switch. But you're right, Max. If they took the 3DS version, brought it over, anti-aliasing all over the place, 60 frames per second, and it was like $40, people would buy that like crazy. No question. That's an easy couple million seller, no questions asked. But that's weird. But yeah, they want to keep the 3DS going, and I think until they get to a certain number, and I've said it before, I think the number they want is 30 million Switch units before they literally bury the 3DS. And I think that's why they only announced 2019 games so far. I don't think I have a 2020 game for the 3DS. I think it's all 2019 stuff that they've announced so far. Is that far out? So I think that's when they're expecting to pass 30 million is next year. Which it'll start getting them kind of close to the Xbox then.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to run the Xbox down in like 2.5 years. It's kind of the way it is. But yeah. There weren't actually too many more questions than that. What are our plans for Too Many Games? Sean, what do you got going on?
I got a panel on Saturday at 3:30 in panel room 2.
So before this airs for everyone.
So thanks for coming.
No, Patreon people get it. You're getting this a day early though, right, Evan?
Yep, Patreons will see it.
They'll know. But if you hear about this and you're interested in Too Many Games, Sunday will be open, and the tickets then are cheaper than ever.
Yep.
So stop by Sunday, and Sean will even be there, so you can go drink Diet Dr. Pepper with him.
You can. Yeah, it'll be a good time though.
It's gonna be fun. We've been Evan and I've been going there forever. We went there when they were in a hotel still, and then we sold with them for about 3 years straight, I think, right? Yep. With our stores and everything. So we've been going to Too Many Games forever, and it's a great convention. It's just because you go there, it's grown. We've seen it grow from seriously being like tiny to now, and it's so different now.
The trick is they haven't really lost as much as the atmosphere as some conventions do, going from small to large. It's still just crazy fun to meet up with people, play games.
And they pack it full of retro games. Seriously, that's the place to go if you want like old games. That's where you go. Like I think I'm gonna work on my N64 collection when I go.
If you see some Sega Saturn stuff, a Sega Saturn table, definitely message me, and I may PayPal you some money to grab something for me.
PayPal it to Sean, because I think he has a little card. Do you have a little card for your PayPal?
Oh shit! I didn't buy that.
I lost.
You're gonna have to overnight it. You're gonna have to overnight it on Amazon.
Damn it! I forgot that.
Yeah.
I'm also looking for Sega CD. I've got like 15 Sega CD games, and I have a lot of the really rare ones, but there's some great stuff.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, Sean, when we went, not last year, year before with the store, a lot of our neighbors actually were taking PayPal straight up. Like you would just sign in and you PayPal it to them.
Yep.
So most of the time they do that.
That convention I went up to, Katsucon up in Washington or wherever the heck I met you guys. That's how the only way you could pay was cash or PayPal. So they'd actually show you a thing. You'd type in on their iPad and just PayPal them the money.
Yeah. A lot of them have, I think, Clover now or Square. And I believe that
Clover
also
Square,
works. So you can actually be like, you take PayPal, and most of them go, yeah, because I have PayPal. You can just, here's my name, just send me the money. Yeah. So yeah, Max, I guess we'll keep an eye out. Sean and I'll keep an eye out for Saturn stuff. Sean's going to get the best look though, because he's going Friday in the morning, I think. So you'll be there right away. I'm going to try to get there when they open as well.
Well, I'm getting in Thursday, so I'll be there. So.
Because in order to get in Friday, you have to buy the pass for all 3 days. So Saturday is the busiest day. So if you get there Friday, you're like some of the first people to see the stuff on the tables.
Well, not only that, what people don't realize a lot of times, the guests, we get to go in there and tour it for about an hour before they open. We get to walk around the vendor floor. So
nice.
From John and our history, you're going to want to do it as fast as possible, because there's even vendors who will snipe up the stuff to sell it for more.
It's true. Yes. 100%. I don't want to say the convention where I see that a lot, but you see everybody set up their table, basically do a hot swap, and then you'd see someone buy like a $15 strategy guide and sell it for $60 later that day.
You got to go next year, Max. That'd be cool.
I'm definitely going to. My problem is I'm doing an out-of-state convention. I'm going to Tokyo and Tulsa Oklahoma, July 13th through 15th. So I just don't want to do two out-of-state conventions in a row. Would probably kick my butt, and I'd miss a couple episodes of Top 10 Thursday or something while dying.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So next year you should get out there, Max. It's a good time, and we can go for Screenwave and everything with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how drunk RGT actually gets.
Yeah, they have like an after party Friday night, right, Sean?
Yeah, it's really not that bad. Like, 5 years ago, it would be terrible. But nowadays, I'm a little bit more mellow.
Well, we'll find out for ourselves, I guess.
There's gonna be pictures on Twitter of you face down in your own vomit. I already know it.
No, I hate throwing up. And I rarely throw up from drinking.
I've never thrown up ever from drinking.
It's been a long time since.
No, wait, I did once. There was one time when I wanted to see like how drunk I could get. I don't know why I thought like I don't know what's the highest level of drunkenness I can get, and so I did like 15 shots in 1 hour.
Those are the last words of Max.
Yeah, I do specifically remember falling in slow motion. Like, oh man, it's taking so long to get to the ground. I'm so drunk.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good time though. We're gonna have fun. I gotta get 64 games because I also bought when it went up for pre-order, because they keep going up for pre-order and disappearing right away. The Nintendo 64 HDMI kit.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna install that myself. It's ribbon cables everywhere. It's soldering all over the place. I'm installing it though, and that sucker's gonna have HDMI.
I just got the HDMI Dreamcast thing.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things.
It's all right. It's so low power. Capture cards don't recognize it, so I can't save footage. I'm gonna have to like buy a separate capture card, because if you put this into an Elgato, it won't even turn on your TV. It doesn't even see it.
That's interesting. It doesn't plug into the wall or anything?
No, it's just, it is literally just the cable, and it just goes straight in the back of your Dreamcast into your TV. And yeah, exactly. You know what you're talking about, John, of like the good upscalers.
Yeah.
You have to plug in. I actually have some of those. I have an RGB to HDMI. That's how I usually do 1080p Dreamcast. And so I figured I'd check this out. And I don't know. I think it looks good for some games like Shenmue, but other stuff, it looks a little bit weird.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that. I just wanted the 64 thing. I think it's like $160 for the kit.
Yeah,
but
it's expensive.
But I wanted to get it because people say that's like the de facto way to do it, and I already know what's going to happen. When we get the week after we get back from Too Many Games next week, probably somewhere in there they're going to announce the N64 Classic, probably with my luck. So there you go. But I want to do it anyway because, of course, then you can use the actual hardware, and it's all these cables and a board and everything. You got to solder it all in, but apparently it gives you some awesome picture, and it even has a menu that you press a combination of buttons and it comes up for scan lines and filtering. And I'm excited to try it out. I think it's gonna be cool. So I got an N64 set up just for that. Like I bought one just for this project, and it's be cool. I just need to get a bunch of games to test with it. So I'll be doing that when I go to Too Many Games. So that'll be fun. Cool. So that is about an hour. That's where we were kind of setting up this pre-recorded Spawncast 4. This is Saturday night. Again, Patreon people get it the Friday night before that, and we are all, everyone but Max. I don't know what Max is doing on Saturday, but we're all probably in Oaks, PA right now, staying out of trouble. So yeah, that was fun. Max, where can they find you, man?
I'm at youtube.com/Dreamcastguy. What big projects do I have coming up next week? I guess all of us are about to be reviewing Wolfenstein. So at some point, Wolfenstein videos are going to be showing up on Switch, and I'm about to start reviewing The Crew 2, which I've been messing with a little bit. It's a driving game that randomly they threw in dirt bikes and planes, and I don't know how well that works. So look for that review at some point.
When's Wolfenstein out?
Wolfenstein's out next week.
Oh, good. Good thing they didn't send me that code then.
Yeah, fantastic. Good times.
Sean, where can they find him, man?
Find me at RGT85. I have really no idea what's coming up. I gotta sort of plan stuff. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sean is a very fly-by-night kind of guy here with that.
Yes.
So, yes. And then Evan, what about you? You did your probably one of your best reviews actually today for Ease 8.
Mm-hmm.
Good job with the editing and everything, man.
Keep tinkering with it. I'm hopefully going forward it'll get better and better. So yeah, you can just keep up with my random goings on by just following Kimrick's project on Twitter.
Yeah, we're gonna start having you put your Twitter handle in the in the beginning of the video so people can find you finally.
I'm gonna make lower thirds for you and me to just pop in.
Yeah, you just pop the Spawn Wave one in there, pop in yours and everything. Yeah, it'll be cool. So cool. So yeah, it was fun. This is a pre-recorded one. You can also listen to it on SoundCloud if you don't want to use up your data for video. on YouTube here. That'll work too. It's on SoundCloud. Links to everybody in the description and everything, so guys check that out. And I guess that's going to do it this week's Spawncast episode. Is this 63 or 64? 64. We're getting there. Getting close to 100. So, thanks, guys, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you next week post Too Many Games. So I'm sure we'll talk about all of the crazy YouTube crossovers. And we'll post a video up about that, too, because Evan will be filming while we're there, and it'll be fun. Cool. So, all right. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.